Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. This is Gina. I have breaking news, and I have to tell you, it's put me in this McDonald's kind of mood. And I know that sounds strange coming from a vegan, someone who tries to eat healthy all the time, but ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. So here's the deal. Donald Trump's former senior advisor, Steve Bannon, has been indicted and arrested for fraud along with three other men. So the four defendants are Brian Colfage, Stephen Bannon, Andrew Bottolato, I believe is how you pronounce it, and Timothy Shea. Each of them have been charged with one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and one count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. Each of these charges, by the way, carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison. So what is this all about? Well, in 2018, the four men started a GoFundMe campaign called We Build the Wall, which of course was meant to excite Trump's base and generate donations to build the wall along the southern border of the country. And to date, they say that the crowdfunding campaign has raised $25 million. However, according to the charges, within just several days of launching this GoFundMe project, Colfage, Bannon, and Bottolato made a, quote, secret agreement. And these charges are corroborated by text messages, by the way, so much harder to deny. The text messages show that the men agreed that Colfage, who's a veteran of the Air Force, he would receive $100,000 up front and $20,000 each month. And apparently Bannon and the other men funneled over $1 million to themselves through various illegal means, which they used for personal expenses. So why is this a big deal? Well, they promised people that they wouldn't do this, that they were not going to get paid. In fact, Colfage repeatedly assured donors that he would, quote, not take a penny in salary or compensation, and that, quote, 100% of the funds raised will be used in the execution of our mission and purpose. And Bannon publicly stated that, quote, we're a volunteer organization. So Bannon, more specifically, is accused of funneling over $1 million to himself and Colfage, and he did this through a nonprofit organization that he controls. And according to the charging documents, Colfage spent over $350,000 on personal expenses, including a golf cart, a high-dollar luxury SUV, cosmetic surgery, boat payments, jewelry, home renovations, tax payments, and credit card payments. So how did they do this? Well, among other things, the four men allegedly created fake invoices. They generated phony vendor arrangements, and they used all of these things as a way to pay themselves. They even paid Colfage's wife, and then they filed a false tax form stating that the payment was for media. And Timothy Shea created a fake shell corporation to, quote, conceal the source and nature of the payments. Colfage, according to the charging documents and messages, told Shea that they could describe it as social media expenses. And then, to make matters worse, in October of 2019, it appears that someone tipped them off. So they somehow became aware, it appears, that they were under federal investigation for all of this, because they all of a sudden started using encrypted messaging apps on their phones, and they stopped paying Colfage his secret monthly payments. And then they also removed verbiage on their group's website, which previously it stated that Colfage wasn't receiving any compensation for his work. And instead, they changed it and said that Colfage would begin receiving a salary in January of this year. So this all points clearly to a consciousness of guilt, by the way. But will Trump pardon Bannon? I mean, he could be facing some serious jail time. And the 20 years, they noted in a couple of articles that is just something that Congress puts in place as a guideline, but the judge has latitude in, how much time to actually sentence someone with if they find them guilty, which it sounds like, they've got text messages. They've got pretty clear evidence showing that this was all taking place. So seems pretty cut and dry. I don't know. We'll see. But, Trump and Bannon left things on not so great terms. But when Trump was asked about Bannon's arrest today, he said the following, quote, "I know nothing about this project other than I didn't like when I read about it. I didn't like it. I said, this is for government. This isn't for private people. And it sounded to me like showboating. And I think I let my opinion be very strongly stated at the time. I didn't like it. It was showboating and maybe looking for funds. But you'll have to see what happens. I think it's a very sad thing for Mr. Bannon." So he thinks it's a very sad thing for Bannon, but he doesn't mention the people that they victimized and took advantage of and ripped off. It's not sad for them. I think I would save my empathy for the people who, even though I don't agree with them, I don't agree with the southern border wall. I think, for one thing, it's just a waste of money. We have so much technology now that we could implement practices and procedures and use technology to make it far more convenient, affordable, effective, and without creating problems with our ecosystem and blocking it off with a ridiculous wall that people can dig under or go over. Having said that, I still don't agree with ripping people off. I don't agree with taking advantage of people who maybe put in their last $5, people who don't have a lot of money to waste, and they believed in this. They believed in this project, and they believed in Bannon. Now, Bannon tries to come across as this populist, and he cares about the average person. But look at who he spends his time with. Look at what he spends his time doing. And he's not above ripping people off, ripping off average Americans to pay for a lavish lifestyle. So I hope this wakes people up and makes them understand that he's full of shit, that he's not just, your average guy who cares about doing what's best for the forgotten men and women of this country. It's such complete and utter nonsense. It's completely a game. He knows exactly what buttons to push. And then Trump claims that he didn't know anything about We Build the Wall, but it was reported back in February that the group, We Build the Wall, had direct communication with Trump's administration, and they discussed their plans to donate the funds to the government for the border wall project. So how is it that he knows nothing about it? Either he's completely unplugged and takes no responsibility and makes no effort to actually govern the country, which is very true, or he's lying, which could also be true, or it could be a little of both. I mean, with Trump, it's a mixed bag. But yeah, so that's where it's at, guys. I will definitely keep an eye on this because I am just loving this. This is awesome. Oh my gosh. Best news ever. Early birthday present for me. Yay. So I will let you know if I hear more. As always, like, share, subscribe. I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.